Live streaming is on.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor, coming at you to tell you a little piece of my mind. And I know earlier I did a quick recording, but it didn't show off that it was live going on. Okay. And so with that being said, I wanted to go in and just quickly go back through some of the issues that I was having. So there was a press release that came out just earlier today, and it was by April Miller, that is, I guess, a delegate. And so with that, she stated that I'll read you the press release so that you can truly understand what's going on from your side of it. All right. So it's at Frederick, Maryland. Frederick County Board of Education voted unanimously to approve the state mandate revisions for elementary school health curriculum on March 23rd, 2022. Starting at the age of 5, our children will now be learning about gender identity and the ranges in which people identify and express their gender. Parents have the ability to opt out around the 4th grade. Many Frederick County parents feel that these topics are developmentally inappropriate for your young learners in kindergarten and through 3rd grade. By voting to implement these changes without discussion or transparency, parental rights have been ignored. Okay, so let's talk real quick, and it goes a little further. You can go on my Facebook and you can see exactly the rest of it. But the thing that I got to issue is there's a couple names at the very bottom, and I guess they are running for the Board of Education also. So let's just really talk about this one thing, okay? So with that being said, is that they pretty much said that the curriculum was approved. Now, I want you to take a quick look at what's really going on here, because this is a little incorrect. The objectives were approved, but not the curriculum. The curriculum will be approved, what was told to me, in July. So around the time that we go in for our election for the Board of Education, around this time will be whenever we start to see the curriculum. Now, I did some research and looked at a couple of curriculums, especially some of the curriculums that were talked about in Virginia. Now, you got to remember that in Virginia, this was a really big topic, especially with the critical race theory. Now, with that, you can go over to its welcoming schools.org, and it says /resources/lesson plan gender identity transgender non-binary. Okay. Now you can go in there and they have all the curriculums that they have through like K through whatever. So I looked at a couple through K through 2, K through 3, and kind of looked at them. Now, don't get me wrong, they do have some of the issues that will be brought up. So, but I'm going to tell you what, because there have been people on social media that are blowing up, and I understand why they're blowing up, and I will explain that. But until then, there's some on the other side who don't understand why people are blowing up. This is the reason why I want to run for the Board of Education, is because I'm not an extremist. I don't believe all the way on one side, and I don't believe all the way. I make good sense of what's going on. I do my own research, and I have people who research with me, and we give some conversation and we talk about really what's going on so that we don't have a knee-jerk reaction. That's kind of what's going on around the community as a whole. So I went and looked up, and I'll pull this up right now. So if you go to the Health Education Framework, the final edition that they put up, okay, on the board. Now take a look. Now, they do talk about the opting out at 4th grade, but let's look at these things that the objectives that were approved, not the curriculum, the objective. So now if you look at pre-K, it says recognize and respect that people express themselves in many different ways. I'm all for that. It's not about just gender. It's about just everything. Where some people are mixed in their race. Some people have gender. Some people comb their hair some other way. I believe that we need to have respect for people who have different differences. I've always told my kids, respect people. We don't, as children, we need to make sure that these children are not bullied and that they are not looked at and alienated because of some of their choices or how they feel that they are. It's not our job to do that. So if you look at the that was the pre-K. Look at the kindergarten. The kindergarten says recognize a range of ways people identify and express their gender. Then it goes on. The second one is recognize it is important to treat people of all gender identities and expressions with dignity and respect. I'm all for that also. I think that we as a community have lost empathy. And with empathy, we need to just start teaching people. That's my problem with critical race theory, is that a lot of times we get so caught up in how far do we go back? Do we go 400 years back? Do we go to, I mean, people don't even know whether or not to call a person a black person or an African American. And these are adults that still come and ask me these questions because they don't really know. And if you start to get people into pronouns, a lot of the adults don't know. Now, whether or not they decide they want to find out, whether they want to be more educated, that could be the problem also, is that people aren't taking the time to educate themselves. Now, I'll tell you this. When I worked for the health department, I took SHEER, which is sexual health and recovery. A lot of the terms, they change over and over. There was people in the class that was taking the class that knew some different types of gender identities that had not been even taught in the class, because it's always changing. It's totally evolving. So when we start to look at what's happening in first grade, second grade, and even third grade, it pretty much just says demonstrate ways to treat people of all gender identities and expressions with dignity. That's pretty much what the basis of it is. But I think the problem why people are getting so angry is the fact that it says identify a range of ways that people identify. What are we talking about when we say identify? I think that's the problem, that people don't have a term and a definitional term of what identify. Are you going to be bringing this to the student, a long list, and engulfing them with a bunch of information that they might feel is inappropriate for their age group? I think that's the problem. And that's why with this shouldn't have came out in a press release. I don't think that's the way that should have been. I think that there was ways that this could have came out where parents felt like they were informed, that they were part of it. That's the reason why my platform is definitely rebuild, and we got to rebuild the way that we have relationships with the parents. I had a lady who reached out, said she quit because she just doesn't want to teach. Teach the genders, because she says she doesn't believe in it. She's a Christian. That's just not the way that she wants to. That wasn't what she went to school for. She went to school to teach a particular subject. That's that's the way she sees it. So we have to get to the point where we start supporting everybody. And a lot of people, I'm gonna tell you this, with genders, a lot of the gender roles we're looking at, we don't have a lot of men in school. The reason why we don't have a lot of men, especially in Frederick, is because I think our pay scale is too low. And a lot of the men who support their families are not able to afford to support their families the right way. And I think that the more and more that we have less men in our schools, we're starting to see the effects of it. And people can get mad if they want to, but that's what I'm seeing. We need to raise the scale as much as we possibly can so that we can get some men back into the school systems, because most of them, they're going to Montgomery County and they are teaching in Montgomery County or surrounding counties because they're not able to make enough money here. So take a look at this for yourself, so that you can better inform yourself, and you can go to the proposed curriculum revisions. And it was a mandate that came down from the state, but Frederick County did have the opportunity to, I think, opt out of some of the objectives. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to speak on what I don't know, but what I do know is that the objectives have been approved, but we have to wait until the curriculum comes out. Now, at that point, it's going to be a very short window. Make sure that you are aware, that you are informed, and read the curriculum that's going to be taught. Now, if you got a problem at that time, that's when you want to blow up. If not, just sit back and definitely let the system go, because I'm telling you, in November, if I get in there, you will understand that I will have a listening ear, and I will do my best to make sure that our community is being looked at and our community is definitely being watched over. All right. It's David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor. Take it easy. Bye.